Hello teacher, the integrants of our groups are Besante Julio, Gutierrez Jorgelina, and me, Leiva Maria Jose. We are going to talk about 1.4 implication for English language teaching. The status of English in the school curriculum. English may be taught as a subject or as a medium of interaction or as a medium of interaction for a subject at the school. This depends on each country or each government. For example, in the case of China, more than 100 million of people study English, and in the case of France, about 96% of school children study English as elective subject. In many countries, the focus when teach English is on grammar, vocabulary, and the 4 skills. This style of teaching that occur around the world vary considerably. However, many students take different exams to approve the course of English.
English language teaching in English-speaking countries. English-speaking countries like Australia, Canada, the United States, and the United Kingdom, there are millions of foreign-born residents, many of whom would be described as having limited English proficiency. English teaching programs in countries like these serve a variety of kinds of learners, including immigrants, refugees, as well as students from different parts of the world seeking to improve their English. And such programs involve private and public sectors. For example, in the United States, speakers of other languages, the curriculums are developed by education departments in individual states, and these curriculums are based on the specific needs of each state. And if the students have a limited English language skills, they are given intensive English language support to assist them. And in tertiary institutions provide English language support in a variety of ways. For example, students are tested to determine if they need support for academic courses related with reading, speaking, writing, and listening. And these courses are provided through centers in which learners can get individual assistance.
Let's consider now the role of the private sector in English instruction. In many countries where the state school system is insufficient, many parents decide to send their children to private institutes in order to get their extra English instruction. This is due to 2 main reasons. The first one is the amount of time they spend learning English, which is usually 2 or 3 hours a week, and it is not enough for them to assimilate the content, and that is why it's constantly, year by year, they start over once and over and over and over and over through the entire education. As for example, it happened to me. And the other main reason is the lack of exposure the students have to English, because being in school, the only place where they can practice it. But we know that today it is possible to join different social networks or kind of groups that will help you improve your English. But of course, that is in nowadays. These private language schools usually prepare students to take what is known as Cambridge exams, in which they will be scored with the level of English they manage. The levels are 5, and they are key, preliminary, first, advanced, and proficiency.
The impact of technology. 40 or 50 years ago, teaching only took place in the classrooms on the language laboratory. The teacher used the method of chalk and talk and used the textbooks. But nowadays, with the technology advances, learning is not confined only to the classroom. It can take place at home or in other places, as well as schools, using the computer, the whiteboards, and the internet, videos, etc. Internet are accessible to teachers and learners. Technology has facilitated to learn in different ways. For example, individual or in groups or by a work project, etc.
English means different things to different people. Learners associate English with a variety of values and roles, and these may influence the attitude towards learning English and the kind of English, the kind of learning experiences they prefer. Some can consider or associate English with things they enjoy, but others can associate English with something that will have an economic value in the future. So teachers need to realize that learners may be satisfied with making themselves intelligible in English and speaking English in a way that reflects their cultural identity. So this requires teachers to be sensitive to the variety of contexts in which English is taught and used.
Language teaching is a localized activity. It is important to remember that not the same recipe will work worldwide. This means that whenever we are going to teach English, particularly, we need to be aware of the need of our learners, our students, and we have to adapt to that context. It is important for us, for example, in our case, to adapt to Argentina and to respond to that necessities our learners will have through their entire education.
Learners need to appreciate the diversity of English and the varieties of English that exist in the world. Learners should have the possibility to hear the different varieties of English and include the new Englishes, and not only are limited to the English dominant countries.
Interlocutors may not be native speakers of English. Traditional views of teaching English often seek to prepare students to be able to manage interaction with native speakers. This may be a relevant aim for learners who are studying English in an English environment, but for other learners who are their uses of English may be other speakers of English as an international language. With globalization, English language learners need to prepare a future encounters with speakers of varieties of English that differ from their own. And one way to prepare learners is to expose them to different varieties of English which are available on internet, on the radio, or in the television.
learners' English should be valued. We know that English, or any language, is a result of a collaborative work, and it is up to every person to create new or to apply or to be part of that collaborative work. They can provide their own input. It is possible for a country or for a particular community to adapt a particular expression created by even the literal translation of their own native mother tongue into English, and that is also part of English. We can also accept that, or we can also say that English have taken from different languages, for example French, the word ballet, they have adapted other words from other cultures into their own, and that's part of how language are created or how they evolved.
Native speakers need to use English in ways that facilitate communication. Native speakers and teachers of English need to recognize that the way they use the English with other native speakers is not necessarily helpful in context where English is an international language.
Learners need to develop intercultural communicative competence. From the point of view of English as an international language, the goal of English teaching is not merely to develop communicative skills in English, because language learning provides the opportunity for emancipation from the confines of learners' native habits and cultures. So learning English becomes the opportunity to compare cultures and for learners to validate their own culture and linguistic heritage. So to sum up, learners in different parts of the world have different motivations for learning English and for the kind of English they seek to acquire and for the level of proficiency they need. So that's all. Thanks for your attention.